sorrow, heartbreak, yet profound admiration are the emotions I feel after researching and studying over 100 Black celebrities associated with teenage motherhood. Hello everyone, we are Our Memory Vault, and this is the video 11 Black celebrities who became mothers at the youngest age. This profoundly impacted the psychology careers and entire lives of these women, and it might leave you shocked. This video is perfect to play while you are resting, enjoying a meal with your family, or doing chores. All the information in this video has been researched and gathered by us from various sources. If there are any errors, please leave a comment below to help our channel grow. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell to receive updates on our earliest videos. Now, let us get right into the first figures. Aretha Franklin. When mentioning Aretha Franklin, audiences from older generations always remember a great monument, a queen of soul with a deeply powerful and soulful voice. However, behind those heart-touching notes was a childhood taken away far too soon. Aretha became pregnant for the first time at just 12 years old and gave birth to a son, Clarence, and then went on to have her second child, Edward, at the age of 14. In the context of a strictly religious family, where her father was a famous pastor, this event was not only a shock, but also an enormous psychological burden. She had to become a mother, while her body and mind were still those of a child facing judgment from the community and the concerned stares of contemporary society. Raising two children during her teenage years forced Aretha to grow up harshly before her time. The early days of her children's lives were not tied to a peaceful home, but rather to chaotic backstage areas where the young mother had to simultaneously change diapers and prepare for her performances. From our perspective, this hardship created an invisible yet tremendous pressure. She had no opportunity to enjoy the carefree nature of youth. Instead, there were long sleepless nights, hiding her self-pity and exhaustion to fulfill the duties of a mother. The silence and endurance in the face of public scrutiny forged a profound, steely resolve within this woman. The Our Memory Vault channel believes that the unspeakable pains of early motherhood were transformed by Aretha into a fierce catalyst for her art. Her singing was not simply exceptional vocal technique, but rather the voice of her soul, the release of pent-up emotions, frustrations, and a fierce desire to live. She conquered the entire world, yet few understand the heavy price she had to pay for that forced maturity. The greatness of Aretha Franklin proves that a person can absolutely turn the deepest scars of their life into an eternal artistic legacy. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is present in the public mind as a symbol of wisdom, media power, and deep compassion. However, the first chapter in the book of her life carries a gray tone and is filled with trauma. At the age of 14, Oprah discovered she was pregnant as a consequence of prolonged psychological trauma within her family. The fear of societal disdain caused a teenage girl to tightly bind her stomach for 7 months to hide the truth. That was a torment of both body and spirit, reflecting the ultimate despair of a child with nowhere to lean on, with no one to share her extreme panic. The psychological shock, along with the pressure of hiding, led to Oprah giving birth prematurely, and the baby boy, Kanan, who carried fragile hopes, passed away after only a few short weeks in the incubator. This loss left a gaping void in her soul, pushing her to the brink of despair and the most negative thoughts. From our viewpoint, this pain was not simply the pain of losing a child, but also the collapse of an innocent soul turned away by society. For a 14-year-old girl to gnaw on the pain of bereavement alone is a profoundly harsh sentence of fate. However, her father's words considering this tragedy a second chance became the life buoy that altered the entire trajectory of Oprah's life. She used the pain as leverage, throwing herself into studying and building a career to escape the cycle of poverty and trauma. We believe that the extraordinary empathy that helps Oprah connect with millions of viewers globally originated precisely from that heartbreak at age 14. She did not run away from the past, but used it to prove that no matter how dark the starting point, human will can still light a brilliantly bright torch to illuminate the path for oneself and for others. If you think the pain behind Oprah's halo is the ultimate tragedy, then wait to see the story of figure number 3 right after this. She was chased out of the house by her own biological mother while pregnant, but her magnificent ending will make all of us take our hats off in admiration. Cathy Hughes. Cathy Hughes is a monument in the American media industry, the first Black woman to own a publicly traded company on the stock exchange. But her journey began with tears rolling down the streets of Omaha in the 1960s. When she became pregnant at 16, Cathy had to face cold abandonment from friends and even more bitterly being kicked out of the house by her own mother. The image of a lonely young girl with a growing belly, no money, and no direction is a clear testament to the harshness of societal prejudice at that time. Her pregnancy took place in absolute solitude, where the fear of the future overshadowed all other emotions. Becoming a single mother at 17, Cathy had to shoulder the responsibility of survival for both mother and child. She carried her little son to work at the radio station, breastfeeding him while burying her head in piles of paperwork. The long, sleepless nights calculating every single penny to choose between buying milk for her child or paying rent were trials that wore down both her physical strength and her willpower. From the perspective of the program creators, we deeply admire her extraordinary endurance. In a society where young women of color who got pregnant were often labeled as throwaways, Cathy chose not to bow down to adversity. It was her love for her child and maternal instinct that became the greatest motivation for Cathy to build the Radio 1 empire from absolutely nothing. The little boy Alfred, who once grew up amid the radio station, has now become her capable right-hand man. The Our Memory Vault channel asserts that Cathy Hughes is a living proof that early motherhood is not the end. Adversity unintentionally trained her to have a sharp business mindset and a spirit of steel. Her story conveys a powerful message. Society's rejection cannot determine your value unless you allow it to happen. Jan Levanzant. Jan Levanzant is known to millions as a healing expert, an inspirational speaker with calmness and wisdom. Yet the path leading to that wisdom was paved with bricks of poverty and despair in the slums of Brooklyn. Orphaned of her mother since the age of 2, Ayanla early on fell into a vortex of deprivation and became pregnant with her first son at 16. When the surrounding society only offered coldness, a girl who hadn't even grown up had to force herself to become a mother. She walked out of the hospital with her child in her arms, carrying a blurry future without any financial or emotional support. The tragedy did not stop there. Hasty decisions of youth pushed her into a tear-filled marriage, giving birth to 2 more children by the time she was 21, and sinking deep into postpartum depression. During that time, she was merely existing rather than living, struggling with odd jobs to keep her children from going hungry. Our perspective shows that Ayanla is a typical victim of a social system lacking support for vulnerable women. The resentment and feeling of failure as a mother once pushed her toward thoughts of giving up, leaving her fate to be decided by chance. However, the ultimate fear that her children would follow in her tragic footsteps awakened Ayanla. She returned to school with an ironclad determination, earning a law degree through sweat and tears. We have come to reflect that Ayanla's ability to soothe the pain of others does not come from textbooks, but directly from the bleeding wounds of her youth. From the very depths of despair, she found her voice turning the mistakes of her past into the most valuable assets to educate and enlighten the community. Liz Benson. To audiences who love the far-reaching cinema of the 90s, Liz Benson is an irreplaceable queen of the screen. Few know that behind that brilliant halo is a grueling journey of motherhood that began at the age of 17. Living in a traditional society in Nigeria, Liz entered an arranged marriage with the innocence of youth, only to quickly face the harsh reality of being a wife and a mother. Children were born one after another while she was still struggling to shape her personality and find her own purpose, turning her youth into a sequence of days revolving entirely around diapers and obligations. True turmoil struck when her husband suddenly passed away, leaving the young widow floundering in the currents of life with 3 young children. This was the darkest period when Liz had to shoulder the roles of both father and mother alone. During the day, she put on glamorous outfits, wearing professional smiles on the film set. But when night fell, she held her children and cried silently due to the pressure of earning a living. The Our Memory Vault channel deeply respects this resilience because amidst the gossip and pitying glances of outsiders, she chose silence and diligent labor over giving up or complaining. Thanks to her relentless efforts, Liz Benson etched her name into cinematic history, using her success to shelter her children with a comfortable life. Looking back at her journey, we believe that the true strength of a woman lies not in avoiding the storms, but in how she stands firm amidst the hurricane to protect her family. When she reached the peak, she calmly stepped back to find peace in her soul. Her life is a great epic about the boundless sacrifice of a mother, a story powerful enough to touch the heart of anyone who has experienced the ups and downs in life. The 5 figures just now must have taken quite a few tears from us, but the secrets behind the next faces are truly a shock. Do not take your eyes off the screen, because the person standing at number 6 had to hide her growing pregnant belly right on the movie set, betting both her life and honor to protect her child. Clarion Chukwura. In the highly competitive Nigerian film industry, Clarion Chukwura emerged as a proud flower. However, few could have guessed that this powerful beauty once had to taste extreme panic when she discovered she was pregnant at the age of 17. For older audiences, we all understand how strict the social context of the 80s was, especially for a young unmarried actress. This news was nothing short of a sentence that could bury her entirely blossoming career. In the midst of her most brilliant youth, Clarion was forced to face scrutinizing eyes, public sarcasm, and the fear of an uncertain future without a man by her side. Clarion's months of pregnancy were a long chain of bearing the burden and hiding it on the film set. She had to work more than 12 hours a day, using thick makeup and baggy costumes to conceal her growing belly. There were times when dizziness hit sweat, soaking the back of her shirt, but she still gritted her teeth to stand firm in front of the camera lens. The man who refused responsibility left the country, leaving Clarion alone to face long, sleepless nights along with the cries of a newborn. She had to bring her child to the set, memorizing lines while soothing the tiny life managing on her own between the glamorous stage lights and the precarious reality of life. The Our Memory Vault channel tremendously admires the courageous choice of this woman. Instead of sinking into regret or letting public opinion defeat her, Clarion turned maternal love into invisible armor. She threw herself into work tirelessly, saving every opportunity to build a solid foundation for her son, Clarence Peters. The boy who grew up in the wings of the stage years ago has now become a top-renowned director in Africa. Looking back at Clarion Chukwura's journey, we realize that the resilience of a single mother can change the fate of 2 generations, turning the bitterness of early life into brilliant, sweet fruits in her twilight years. Fantasia Barrino. The winner of American Idol Season 3 possesses a voice rich in narrative and intense emotional power. However, behind that signature raspy voice are the choked-back tears of a young woman of color growing up in poverty in North Carolina. Fantasia's life took a completely different turn when she became pregnant at 16. While her peers were still immersed in soaring academic dreams, she had to carry a heavy, pregnant belly. Becoming a mother at an age when she was barely able to care for herself stripped away her innocence, pushing her into a remarkably harsh reality, devoid of both material wealth and empathy from the community. Fantasia's journey as a single mother began in a cramped house where the agonizing cries of her baby girl Zion echoed every night alongside the exhausted sighs of the young mother. The child's father had completely disappeared, leaving her alone to face diapers and her daughter's persistent fevers. A feeling of dead ends surrounded her, as she had to do all sorts of odd jobs, counting every single penny just to exchange for a box of formula. The pressure of societal stigma made Fantasia increasingly withdraw into herself. But in her darkest days, music became her sole lifebuoy. She sang anywhere, anytime, using melodies to soothe her humiliation and earn a meager income to raise her child. From the perspective of the program creators, we believe that the American Idol Championship in 2004 was not just a title, but a well-deserved reward for the ultimate sacrifice of a mother. The agony, destitution, and boundless love for her child molded a profoundly powerful voice that no school could ever train. Fantasia did not let circumstances define her future. Her shining on the world's biggest stages is a resounding declaration that teenage adversity may make you stumble, but it cannot stop you from soaring high if you have enough faith and a strong reason to live. Shan George. Shan George, a veteran and powerful face of West African cinema, went through a youth filled with so many emotional struggles that our generation can hardly fully imagine. Born into a society that still heavily emphasized traditional customs, Shan entered an arranged marriage when she had just turned 16. The innocence and impulsiveness of youth had not yet faded when the news of her pregnancy arrived like a gray cloud, completely obscuring the young girl's sky of hope. Facing childbirth at such a tender age, she had to endure countless whispers, gossip, and harsh stares from those around her, while she herself did not truly understand the definition of family responsibility. Tragedy followed tragedy as Shan continuously gave birth to 3 children within just 3 short years, living with a husband who was completely indifferent and denied all responsibilities as the breadwinner. The shabby rented house became a place witnessing the salty tears of a young mother, exhausted both physically and mentally. When the forced marriage fell apart, Shan George was pushed out into the world empty-handed, with 3 mouths waiting to be fed. The long nights holding her children and crying in despair over extreme poverty are haunting memories she will never forget. However, the survival instinct urged her to step into the harsh world of cinema, reading scripts while rocking her children to sleep, scraping together every meager paycheck to sustain life for all 4 of them. The Our Memory Vault channel is particularly impressed with this woman's willpower to rise from the very bottom of society. Shan George did not succumb to the label of failure that people imposed on her. She walked slowly, taking firm steps from unknown supporting roles to become a highly successful film producer. Now, having become a grandmother and watching her children grow up to be successful, the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes are the proof of a life of ceaseless fighting. Shan's story is a profound reminder that the misfortune of a wrong marriage is not a dead end, but sometimes it is the exact catalyst for a woman to unearth the extraordinary strength hidden deep within herself. Ada Ame. When mentioning Ada Ame, audiences often remember a comedienne with a charming acting style who always brought ringing laughter to millions of families on the television screen. But few understand that behind that bright smile was one of the most tragic and tearful personal stories we have ever researched. Growing up in the poor, dilapidated slums of Ejagunle, Ada early on became a victim of deprivation and social temptations. At the age of 14, when her body was not yet fully developed, that innocent girl became pregnant with an older man. The pain struck when that man passed away before he could take responsibility, leaving her floundering in the storms of life. The real nightmare began when the secret was exposed in the 5th month of her pregnancy. Her family not only refused to offer her shelter, but her biological father also threw bitter words at her and kicked her and the newborn child out of the house. The image of a 14-year-old girl wandering the cold streets holding a tiny infant without knowing where to go truly makes our hearts ache. Ada once choked back tears, admitting she was a child raising a child. Enduring the rejection of neighbors, the isolation of society, and nights holding her child crying in humiliation. Due to hunger, Ada once turned to alcohol to escape reality, but it was the clear eyes of her daughter that kept her anchored to life. Through the lens of Our Memory Vault, Ada Ame's life is a sorrowful symphony about the overly heavy price of forced maturity. She used the extreme pains of her childhood to distill into laughter, dedicated to art as a way to self-heal her own wounds. It is truly heartbreaking that fate once again took away her only daughter in 2020, causing the fortress of willpower she painstakingly built to completely collapse, leading to her eternal departure not long after. Ada's passing leaves a great void, and at the same time, it is a profound wake-up call about the indelible psychological traumas of teenage motherhood. Cherie Whitfield. When watching American reality television shows, audiences are often familiar with the image of a sharp, composed Cherie Whitfield, always dressed in glamorous outfits and possessing an overwhelmingly confident demeanor. However, few would guess that this perfect and solid exterior was forged from incredibly dark days. Back in 1985, when she was only 15 years old, Cherie stumbled into an impulsive romance and became pregnant with her first daughter. At an age when her peers only cared about books and parties, she had to face the dizzying changes of her body and an extreme sense of panic as she walked into the delivery room with a mind completely unprepared for motherhood. Right after giving birth, what awaited her was not blessings but coldness and abandonment from her own family and disdainful looks from acquaintances. They threw judgmental words and assumed that the future of this 15-year-old girl was completely over. In a shabby apartment, Cherie had to shoulder the burden of caring for baby Tiara by herself, going to school while working exhausting jobs to earn every box of milk and every piece of diaper. There were times when she fell into mild depression, her eyes deeply sunken from long, sleepless nights, but she did not dare to complain to anyone for fear they would mock her weakness. All the pent-up hardships forced the former teenage girl to grow sharp thorns to protect herself. We at our Memory Vault hold a highly respectful view of this woman. Instead of letting public opinion trample her, Cherie channeled all that resentment into a motivation to live, determined to raise her daughter well to prove all prejudices wrong. She understood that if she fell, the child would be the one to suffer the most. The image of a strong, unapologetically fierce businesswoman on television today is the result of years being rejected by society. Cherie Whitfield's transformation delivers an incredibly inspiring message to older audiences. No matter how many scratches your past has, it cannot define your human value. It is your attitude in facing the storm that determines who you will become in the future. Toya Johnson. Toya Johnson, a familiar face on American reality television and a successful self-made businesswoman, possesses a motherhood journey full of unexpected turns. Her story began in New Orleans when Toya was only 14 or 15 years old and caught up in a teenage romance with rapper Lil Wayne. The sudden appearance of a tiny life pulled her youth's launching pad completely off track, forcing a still dreaming girl to face the harsh reality of parenting. Giving birth to her daughter, Regina, at 15, Toya walked out of the delivery room with a worn-out body and a deeply panicked mind. That was the moment she realized the door to her childhood had officially closed forever, making way for heavy responsibilities that even adults sometimes struggle with. The period that followed was a relentless loop of hardship and loneliness. Returning to live in her parents' cramped house after the teenage romance dissolved, Toya had to face long, sleepless nights soothing a feverish child. Economic pressure weighed heavily on her frail shoulders, along with the concerned stares and judgmental whispers of society about a teen mom who had ruined her own bright future. Waking up in the mornings, her mind no longer had room for soaring dreams of freedom, but instead, it was a constant worry about diapers and money. Everything seemed to push the young girl into a dark corner where the hope for a good life became an extreme luxury for a teenage single mother. However, the perspective of the Our Memory Vault channel highly appreciates Toya Johnson's spectacular breakthrough. Amidst the chaos of adversity, instead of giving up or permanently relying on her ex's fame, she chose to proudly stand on her own 2 feet. Starting from carefully writing books to share her life story while her child slept to personally venturing into fashion and television, Toya step by step built an empire under her own name. Watching her daughter Regina grow up independent and confident today, we can see that Toya's tears and sacrifices of the past were not in vain at all. She is an authentic, inspiring symbol of financial independence, proving to the audience that even when starting motherhood in the most ironic and lonely circumstances, a woman still has enough resilience to personally create a glorious and worthwhile life. Through the 11 stories just now, we have witnessed together the extraordinary strength and sacred maternal love that helped these women rise up and rebuild their lives from the very depths of adversity. We hope the video has brought you profound and meaningful reflections. We wish you always have truly peaceful and joyful moments of relaxation with your family. Do not forget to support the Our Memory Vault channel by hitting the subscribe button, liking the video, and turning on the notification bell so you won't miss the upcoming stories. Thank you very sincerely, and see you again.